Steve Bannon, also known as Sloppy Steve, became a household name in the early days of the Trump presidency. He was retired President Trump's chief strategist and the executive chairman of the right-wing Breitbart News. Saturday Night Live portrayed the two-shirt-wearing Bannon as the Grim Reaper when he was in the White House, and for some, this one-dimensional characterisation stuck. But Alison Klayman's newly released film, The Brink, provides unencumbered access to Bannon's meetings, colleagues and opinions as the filmmaker follows him for several months from the time he left the White House in 2017 until right after the midterm elections in 2018, and provides a more nuanced portrait. The film covers a period during which Bannon campaigned for Republicans such as Roy Moore, the far-right Alabama politician who was accused of sexual misconduct, and established a new pan-European populist organisation, The Movement. As he constantly chugs down cans of Red Bull, Bannon declares his agenda to create a united revolutionary populist movement based on an opposition to Muslim immigration, and to do it by inspiring hate and anger in those who felt threatened or afraid. "Take out the sword and throw away the scabbard," was his cry. There are no talking heads or sit-down interviews with other people in this fly-on-the-wall documentary film. Instead, he banters with the filmmaker. Extended moments Alison Klayman calls side conversations.
What did I just watch? Are you now consulting for the National Rally Party?
And your point?
She mainly captures the political strategist talking with other ideologues of his own ilk, both American and European, and with wealthy people who share his convictions, most of them, she says, coming to the court of Bannon to kiss the ring. It depicts not the private individual, but the behind-the-scenes professional activities of the public figure. But does the film, while made by a person obviously not sympathetic to Bannon's political manoeuvres, do him the service of taking him too seriously as a man of ideas? Is it, in the end, merely a feature-length commercial for this rather odious man? Not to Klayman, whose parents are Holocaust survivors, a defining aspect of her personality, she says. The film to her is an examination of what it means to be complicit or a perpetrator, something way scarier to her than the question of what it means to be a victim. What gets people to a place where society does cruel things, she asks. If we had verite footage of the rise of the Third Reich, would it look that much different from what's in my film, she told The Guardian. I'm not sure that it would, and I don't think it's overblown to make that connection.
You see, I think this is a really interesting documentary because it gives insight into this populist nationalism that is actually gaining momentum throughout the world, and it's gaining momentum in this country as well. And so I never think it's a bad idea to get insight into the strategies. And you see, the trouble with Bannon is that he's smart, he's a real strategist, he uses irony beautifully.
But his politics are odious.
Listen, but we're gaining insight into the strategies to put this philosophy in place. And that's why I think this is, really, really interesting. I mean, he's sloppy, he goes around in his baggy pants and his two shirts and his stubble. But, he handles audiences that disagree with him.
He's a very good performer. There's no doubt about that. He is charismatic as a performer.
Well, that's, I suppose, the danger of the man, that he is able to be so winning in promoting this, alt-right cause. And she's amazing. She directed, she produced, she shot it, she recorded the sound, and she co-edited. She's a one-man band. She spent a year with him.
And one of the most fascinating aspects of it are the side conversations, as she calls it, where he suddenly stops being filmed, as it were, and turns and just starts chatting to her about what he's just been performing.
Yeah.
And you hear her voice rather quizzically at times, asking questions or trying to get him to explain something. We never see her in shot, but we hear the voice and the camera wobbles a bit while she reframes through this new...
she's a one-man band.
Yeah, it's very well made, I think.
Look, I think it's a 4-star documentary.
I'm going to go a bit further. I thought this was absolutely mesmerising. I'm going to give this 4.5.
Just because you state it doesn't mean it's true. Will you shut up? Oh my. I'm about one thing. I'm about winning.